guys came for basketball. Let's talk about basketball. Come on now.
They're in the middle of a negotiation and they're on a heater. So it doesn't really matter. I've said this before. I made an investment for 5 years and it lost money. And I got about 6 months left in the investment. And in the last 6 months, they started making cash. I'm not bailing on the investment. I want to finally get my money back. It's time to grow up, girls, like fast.
Hello again, my name is Christerpher F. Coleman with the Business Intelligence Group. I'm a business leader, advisor, business coach, and I support investors through due diligence and in operations. I analyze operations, trying to find the issues, trying to find the red flags to help them make better business decisions as they invest in organizations. And in this video, I want to use some of those same analytical skills looking at the WNBA. There's a lot of problems with the operations of the WNBA, a lot of minor problems that amount to major problems, especially as they gear up to go to the next level to be a premier league. But first, please go to LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn at ccoleman144. You can also follow me on X as well as Instagram at ccolemanbiz. That's B-I-Z. All right, let's get into it. So the first thing is that the WNBA has a lot of minor problems, mostly around operations and professionalism. For the WNBA to get the credit it deserves to be a premier league, to be sought and looked at and evaluated in a way that a premier professional league should, they have to fix some of the minor issues that's stopping them from looking so unprofessional, amateur. Like, this is a pro league where if the players are going to get 7-figure contracts, they have to fix these things. And I'm going to go over some of them. But the intent here is to solve these problems, to analyze, solve these problems so that it makes sense for players to make 7 figures. It makes sense that the league is growing. And if they don't fix these things, it will hinder and handicap the growth of the WNBA. And so they're going through CBA negotiations. And as a fan, I want to see the WNBA succeed. And as they began to go through the CBA negotiations, the league, the W, hurts itself with some of the mishaps that they've had, whether it's the media, certain, objects thrown on the floor, some of the stereotypes and stigmas that go around. A lot of it's from haters, but what we have to realize is that perception is key. And as a leader, how do we change the perception of some of the talks and trends that are going around? How can we fix them? How can we feel Kathy Engelbert? How can we feel your leadership? How can we see you making the proper adjustments to correct the stereotypes, to correct the stigmas, to correct some of the minor issues that are preventing the WNBA of getting on that next level in terms of status? I think the WNBA is a great product. Kathy Engelbert in many interviews talked about how as she began to come into the role of the commissioner, she began to evaluate the various nuances and aspects of the game. And one of the things that she said was that the product was good.
The game, and what I found, and because I was raising 2 kids and running a big firm, I really wasn't following the WNBA that much, but I found that the game is excellent. Your quality of your product or service has to be excellent.
And from her background, coming from Deloitte, and just as a business coach, as an advisor, I would agree with her that the product is key. If you don't have a great product, you have to fix the product first before you begin to fix everything else. But the WNBA, I think, is a great product. We just have to fix some of the minor issues that prevent it from getting to that next level of status. Some of the examples that I want to bring up is, number one, it's the refereeing. There's no secret, it's not something that no one is aware of, but people, fans, players have lost confidence in the refereeing. To ensure that the game is played fairly, that there's a fair slate where these athletes have come, they've dedicated their whole lives to the sport, where they come together as professional athletes to perform and to compete. When the referees are not meeting the level of competition, meeting the level of expertise, meeting the level of professionalism, it makes the league look very amateurist, if that's a word. It makes it look not professional when there's inconsistencies of how the referees judge the game. Kathy Engelbert said that the product is good, and I think overall the product is good. But the issue is there's a perception that the refereeing is not good, and you get this from the fans have been complaining about it, the players have been complaining about it on all sides, and it has to be fixed.
I'm gonna get fined for saying this, but like, I drive more than anyone in the league, so to shoot 6 free throws is absurd. And I got scratches on my face, I got scratches on my body, and these guards on the other team get these ticky-tack fouls, and I'm sick of it.
There wasn't an explanation for the tech that she got. You know, I think it was pretty obvious that stuff was brewing, right? When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game, it's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete and they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right? Out of fierce competition. So I started talking to the officials in the first quarter, and we knew this was going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen. So they got to get control of it. They got to be better. They got to be better.
Can you specifically detail what you mean by get control of the game, just to be in your words?
Get control of the game is call the fouls that are actually happening on the floor. Right, and consistently call the fouls that are actually happening on the floor. Okay, not just if somebody swings and misses, right? Like, consistently call the fouls.
One of the referees from the NBA who retired, he gave a story about Kobe Bryant. And through that interview, you could see how the Mamba mentality came out of Kobe to hold a referee accountable.
My rookie year, I got the Lakers. It's Kobe. And Kobe, he's saying he got hit on the elbow. Going to halftime, sure enough, I look at the video, he gets hit on the elbow. And he's right. I go out there and I went up and I said, hey, Kobe, looked him dead in the eyes like, you were right. You got hit on the elbow. He looked at me stone cold and just said, get your shit together. I remember going, damn, it's cold-blooded. And then it dawned on me later, like, he spent how many hours perfecting his craft or whatever. Like, you got to come to go to work. I did have to get my shit together.
And so I think we need some Mamba mentality from the referees to ensure that the game is played fair. If the athletes have given and dedicated their bodies and their lives to this sport, it is incumbent on you as the referees to fix it. And more importantly, it's up to Kathy Engelbert and the leadership of the WNBA to make some changes to where we as the fans and the players feel that change. I think, Kathy Engelbert, you could go down as one of the best commissioners of professional sports if we can feel the changes, if we can feel your leadership. One of the solutions I propose is having an extra referee on the court or multiple referees on the court. Get as many as you need to ensure that we see that the referees are trying to get it right, that the leadership of the WNBA is trying to get right, trying to get the calls right. So that's number one, get some more referees. Number two, utilize some of the examples of the NFL. On this broadcast, had a retired NFL ref to bridge the gap between the ignorance of the rules of the fans and can talk through some of the decision making and some of the calls of the referees that's actually officiating the game, and was able to help bridge the gap of that ignorance that someone might have.
What's going on here? They're saying incomplete. When he came down, the football touched the ground.
We've got to see this one, but wow, what a catch.
It is an incomplete pass. It'll be 4th down and goal.
We basically took the catch rule and rewrote it. 3 components of a catch: control, 2 feet or another body part, and a football move. And the football move, we'll give you some examples of reaching, bringing the ball in, a 3rd step, but it's not limited to those examples. Everybody remember this play, right?
Throws a deep ball to the left side, and the ball is Bryant!
Control, right now, 1, 2, 3, we're done. The process of the catch is over.
so we can get in the mindset of the referee to see what they're seeing. What do the rules say? Because a lot of fans don't really understand the rules. We know basketball, but maybe there's certain nuances that we don't understand, and maybe we need someone who has some credibility, who's been a ref for a long time, to come back and be part of the broadcast and begin to tell the fans at home, hey, this is what is happening. This is the reason why they made this call. And I think that would be very, very beneficial and very effective in correcting the ship in terms of the refereeing. The next thing I want to see is I want to see some referees get fired. Now, you don't have to necessarily fire them from the job where they're not getting paid, but fire them from being on the court. Maybe they get demoted and they go back to some remedial training. Maybe they go back to the YMCA. Maybe they go back to college. Maybe whatever the procedure is, get them off the floor and make some announcements. Hey, these referees, we've evaluated them. We're firing them from their duties, and they're going to get some remedial training. And the next thing that we want to do is bring them back. Say, hey, the referee, they're coming back. They were doing X, Y, and Z. They were refereeing at the college level, and they've went through certain protocols, and they've corrected some of the deficiencies. They become more adept at being in position to see certain plays. And so make it a comeback story. Don't just fire them on a bad note. Everybody loves a great comeback story. When they come back, announce it, hey, they're coming back. They've had their remedial training, and let the fans see that they've corrected those issues. Because that's the key. The fans and the players, they have to see they've corrected some of those issues. And the last solution with the refereeing is, why can't we get some NBA refs? The NBA owns approximately 42% of the WNBA. Why can't we share some of the referees? It seems like they're better and more equipped at handling the pressure, being on TV, things of that nature. Maybe we should use some of the NBA refs. Just food for thought. Maybe that's not the solution, but maybe it gets the gears turning on coming up with solutions to fix some of the problems. All right. In terms of problems, let's continue with the problem. I feel like we've solved some of the issues with the referees, but the next problem is Caitlin Clark. Now, Caitlin Clark herself is not the issue, it's not the problem, but it's how the players are treating Caitlin Clark is the issue.
With a few words with J.C. Sheldon and keeping the crowd engaged.
Clark muscling away.
I mean, is that displacement? I think it is.
Oh, and Marina Mabry's going to get ejected. I mean, that's clearly a foul, which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Kennedy Carter.
Even when I wasn't on her team, I know the talks that Phoenix had in the locker room of no, we're gonna prove her, we're gonna show her what the W really is. You know what I mean? And I get it to a certain extent. And every rookie coming into the league, that's how you're gonna treat them. But there's just more for her. So it's her second year, and now being on her team and seeing it, I'm what are people doing? Actually, it's just too much. And it's just. I'm over it. And if I'm saying it's too much, then it's probably too much.
No, that's so fair.
That's fair, right?
Yeah. And I feel like you see it more because people act like this towards Caitlin.
Yes, 1,000%.
That would get annoying.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. The 2024 season, just looking into the data, it was reported that approximately 17% of all flagrant fouls were against Caitlin Clark. And I think that is an obvious sign that there is some jealousy, some envy towards Caitlin Clark. Whatever the case might be, it's uncalled for of how so many players have been able to get away with committing some of the fouls against her without consequence. There are fouls that have been called, and there's some fouls that have not been called, which a lot of fans suggest that her injury has come from the harsh play. And it's not that there's an issue with the harsh play. It's just there's a bigger picture, and I'll get to that later. Now, Caitlin Clark has brought in millions and millions of fans to the WNBA. Now, there's a lot of talented players in the WNBA, but they didn't bring millions of fans. I would say that the WNBA, a lot of people didn't watch it. I've tried to watch it in the past. It just wasn't my cup of tea. But after watching Unrivaled, coupled with the entering of Caitlin Clark, just seeing the buzz and how explosive and how electrifying she is on the court, just really brought in a lot of fans. And as a result of bringing in fans to see the game, these new fans now can see other players. They can also see other teams. And now you can develop a love for the game, not just for Caitlin Clark, but for your team, for your players. For me, personally, my favorite team is the LA Sparks. I love all of what they're doing, what their organization is doing. We've got Ray Burrell that's come back from injury. Cameron Brink is back from injury. And I think they just have a great squad. Rakia Jackson is a dog. Kelsey Plum is a dog. And so I just really enjoy watching Sparks basketball games. But I never would have been able to view them or had an appreciation to view the Sparks because I just wasn't a fan. But because of Caitlin Clark, I was able to stick around long enough to experience Sparks games. And so I'm appreciative of that. And so the next thing that I want to talk about is how we can fix some of the issues surrounding Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark has brought in millions of views, millions of fans, and I think the WNBA has not leveraged this opportunity to its fullest. No doubt they've leveraged it. I think Kathy Engelbert has made tremendous strides to get the WNBA to this point that it is today. But I think we've left a lot on the table, and I think we can do better. I think the first thing is we have to fix the refereeing. We talked about that earlier, so I'm not going to beat that dead horse. But ultimately, we need to kick out some players. If players are committing flagrant fouls and it is outside of, gameplay, we need to call flagrant 2 fouls, and we need to kick them out the game. And we need to be looking out for this, because when you have hurt players that can't play, you're injuring the bigger picture of the league, especially during the CBA negotiations. We have to kick out these players that are not making a play on the ball, that are doing things and flopping and faking like they weren't doing it. We got to see past that. And if there's any shadow of a doubt, the doubt goes against the player. We need to kick those players out. Maybe not fine them, but kick them out of the game to where they are not supporting their team on the floor. They can sit on the bench and root for their team, but they won't play. The second thing we need to do to fix some of the Caitlin Clark hate and the Caitlin Clark envy and jealousy is to have a come to Jesus moment. I call it the annual season intermission. I think every year, starting this year, there needs to be an intermission to the season. I think this helps with injuries where players can get healthy. I think it helps with correcting the ship on certain operational things around the league, whether it's around the media, or whether it's around the actual league in terms of the operations of the league, whether it's fixing, various refereeing issues, and maybe it's addressing the players to ensure everybody, la-di-da-di, everybody is on the same page to continue to push the WNBA forward. We are at a critical moment in the WNBA history, and we have to get it right. And to get it right, we have to take time out, just like in a game, where there's strategy to perform in the game, and there is scouting reports for players and teams. We need to have a scouting report on issues. When these issues come up, we need to have time to talk through them and get everybody on the same page and fix them. And I call this the annual season intermission. It could be a week, it could be 2 weeks, where there's no play, and la-di-da-di, everybody, all stakeholders, players, coaches, staff, executive, everybody come together on a week or a day or a weekend, whatever the case might be, where we come to one place, one mind, one accord, and we talk about these issues. And maybe you have, someone that oversees that task force or oversees that project to ensure that happens. And we talk about all of these issues that we're having. And we talk about, hey, this is what we're going to do to fix it. And here's what we're going to do if we don't start to fix it. Those people that are not supporting these solutions will be fined, will be kicked out, will be 8-ball, will be whatever the case might be, because there's a bigger picture at stake. And we have to get lottie-dottie, everybody on board. There needs to be a campaign overall to welcome new fans. I think that a lot of new fans have been criticized, have been not welcome to the WNBA because of the criticisms, because of X, Y, and Z, you name it. And new fans have not all been treated and not been welcomed with open arms.
The bus was right here.
Yeah. Don't y'all find that kind of weird? Low-key? Like low-key, come on.
A little, but
Okay.
I'm
really turned off right now.
I'm just a fan though.
I know, I appreciate that.
You sign one, you put my name on it.
One.
Awesome.
I'll sign one.
That's what I get you on that one.
Yeah.
Keep killing it this year. Appreciate that.
I think that's the big issue. I think there needs to be a campaign, whether it's a marketing campaign or whatever it is, media campaign, to go overboard with welcoming new fans. If somebody's signing up for a league pass, we need to send them a t-shirt. We need to send them something. Every 100 people that sign up, maybe they get free tickets to their favorite local team, whatever the case may be. But we need to go overboard. We need to invest in the fans so that we can have a deeper relationship with the fans.
Traverse the entire country to come here to Phoenix to get a look at her today, wearing her number, buying her jersey, and she has been very engaging with a lot of her fans. This has been the scene perpetually across the league for Caitlin Clark.
To not only get them here, Caitlin Clark, and a lot of the efforts that Kathy Engelbert has done has gotten fans here. Now we want to keep them here. And the way we do that is having great products, but we have to show that we appreciate them. We have to show them that we care about them so they can continue showing up and spending the money. All right. And the last thing about this is that, we got to stop fining players. It's petty. Why are we fining Sophie Cunningham, complaining about the referees?
I am someone who says what everyone else is thinking or talking about, not just with the refs,
Did you post
but
that
with
after
Detroit,
after you guys lost?
with Cleveland. I want people to hear what I just said. I am the only one, but if you ask our league, they feel the same exact way. If I was a ref, I know I would mess up all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that your job is easy, but when it is a simple call right in front of your face multiple times, what are you doing? What are you doing?
What call are you bugged out?
All
at
of
the
them.
most? Everything.
Like, it's just they're just so inconsistent. Like, that's my thing. Like, if you're on the other team and you're gonna be found at me,
yeah.
cool. But let me do it to
Didn't
you.
let you, yeah.
I forgot to tell you, we were talking about our first week, what people had to say. Well, the WNBA fined me for
No. You got fined for episode 1?
Dude, they fined me $1,500. I'm like, what? I'm like, this is just the beginning. I was like, you're kidding.
There is a policy to fine players, but I think it's petty right now because it is definitely an issue with the refereeing, and I think it's really petty, and I think we need to stop it. I think that we should not fine players for speaking out about the referees until we fix it. Once we've made some fixes, we've turned the ship around, it's good to go. And then if players begin to complain about the referees, then yeah, fine them because, maybe they don't have anything to complain about. Maybe it's just a personal grievance. Then at that point, yeah, go for it. But I think there needs to be some more discernment about how we go about finding players, especially when they speak about something that is really dear to them because they're competitive. They're trying to win. And so this is an issue that the fans and players on all sides, two teams that are facing one another, they are both saying it's issues with the refereeing. It seems like the biggest thing that they're saying is that it's not consistent. I think Sophie Cunningham said that It's okay if you're going to call certain fouls or not call certain fouls. If they're roughing up me, I'm going to rough them back up. And, you know, if that's how you want to call the game, yeah, that's fine, but make sure it's consistent, fair and consistent. The last thing that I want to talk about in terms of professionalism, increasing the professionalism, and fixing some of the minor problems to ensure that the WNBA is put on a platform in a status of premier, of professional, and top-notch. What we have to do is fix some of the touch points of the WNBA as well as the operations. It seems like there's a lack of talent and competency around some of the media being presented. It doesn't seem like they are the best at their job. I think some of the touch points and the operations has to improve. The talent of the media has not been up to par. When I look at, you know, the media at timeouts, as well as halftime, they could do a lot better. You know, the sideline reporters that are reporting on the game, asking questions, I think they can ask better questions. The post-game interviews, I think there needs to be a better setup. It needs to be more aesthetically pleasing. I think the cameras that are brought in, people use their phone, sometimes it's grainy. And these are touch points that for media to be there, they have to have a certain level of camera. If they're gonna put it out on the internet, YouTube, or whatever the case might be, if it's representing the WNBA, it has to be at a certain quality. And those media outlets have to be fined or reprimanded when they don't meet certain quality points. There needs to be more talented professionals on the operations team, whether it's in marketing, whether it's whatever the case might be. Whoever is in the background ensuring the WNBA is meeting its goals, meeting its objectives, helping to promote the WNBA, whatever those jobs are, we have to do a better job. We have to come to another level of professionalism day in and day out, whether it's ticket sales, media, marketing, whether it's those working on ensuring that the arena looks good, making sure that the flooring, whatever the case might be. There are so many people working in the WNBA, works for the WNBA. We have to do a better job at it. And how do we fix it? Well, we use a lot of the NBA resources. I like the idea of franchising teams that are co-located with NBA teams because we can share resources. It saves money if the NBA owns 42% of the WNBA. Why can't we use their resources? Why can't we use their referees? Why can't we utilize some of the resources from the NBA and the marketing team in the WNBA? Why can't the same people that work in the NBA that sets the floors and the lighting and the announcements, why can't we use them in the WNBA and vice versa? Why can't we use the media that's working in the WNBA and put them on the NBA so they can get trained up, so they can be exposed? So when you see, you know, a reporter or someone from the media calling a game for the NBA, when those same fans and viewers come watch a WNBA game, there's some continuity, there's some familiarity there, and there's a welcoming there because you're used to seeing this person in the NBA because the NBA is much more popular. How can we bridge the gap? When I go into a Target in California, it looks the same as the one in Tennessee. When we go to a grocery store on the south side of town, it looks the same as a grocery store on the east side of town. And so in terms of the people that we see in the media, broadcasting, whatever the case might be, I want to see them in the NBA as well as the WNBA side. How can we bring in the talent from the NBA, whether it's reporters, sideline reporters, and bring them on for a contract for 3 years, as well as introduce an internship for the next generation or iteration of media talent so they can learn. When we bring in the talent over, we see how things are done, and then we bring in interns, those individuals that are going to be graduating from college in the next year, 2 years. They can sit side by side by a seasoned veteran and learn. How do we call games? How do we learn the game? How do we paint the WNBA in a good light that welcomes fans? That at all of these touch points that the fan sees that the WNBA is a premier professional basketball league and not an amateur. How do we do that? So one, we got to get the talent in from the NBA or get top-notch talent from the media or operations, wherever the case might be, get them into the WNBA, and then put interns right side by side with them so they can learn. So after a period of time, we can get this expensive talent out the way, usher them back, whether it's contracts or whatever the case might be, however you want to operate and facilitate that. And we have them there until we get the interns up to speed. Now we can lower our costs on that talent because there were interns. We can bring them in, and now we lower the cost because we've ushered out some of the top talent from the NBA or other pro sports, and the interns are running the show. 3 to 5 years from now, the interns are running the show, and they've learned from the best. How can we facilitate that? And I think that would be great. So that's how I would fix some of these minor problems that we had. And just to recap, we talked about professionalism issues around stereotypes and stigmas, and how the status of the WNBA from a lot of fans has been very amateurish, seem to be not at the status of premier and professional as we look at the NHL or Major League Baseball or the NBA or NFL. And how do we get that status up? Well, first we have to fix the refereeing to ensure that the games are fair, to ensure that the players, when they play, that they feel that they got the best refereeing they could ever get. Why? Because these players have dedicated their lives and perfected a craft to win at a high level. Number two, we got to fix the Caitlin Clark hate and envy and the jealousy. We have to start kicking out players that are going over and beyond. We have to kick them out of the game, and if it continues, kick them out of the league. It's so much talent in the WNBA that if you kick out a star who is continuously acting crazy, one, it can be a headline. Two, you fix the game because people see that, oh, the NBA, they serious. They are serious. They don't play about the rules about this game. We want a competitive game. We want physicality, but we don't want to go over that. And as soon as we go over that, we nipping it in the bud. And I think if you show that type of leadership, I think the respect for the WNBA, the respect for you as a commissioner would go sky high. The next thing we talked about is the operations of the WNBA as well as all of its touch points. Wherever a fan comes in contact with the WNBA, it has to be quality, it has to be top notch. The post-game interviews, people can't just be using phones and grainy imagery and pictures. It has to be top notch, it has to be top quality. If there are repeat offenders, they're not allowed. They don't have access anymore. And we got to be very stringent on that. This is a critical moment in the WNBA. We got to get it right. And Kathy Engelbert, you are the leader to ensure that fans are ushered into this new history of the WNBA. You have all the experience from Deloitte. You have all of the experience because you've worked with the top-notch organizations around the world. You can do this, but it starts with you. Again, my name is Christerpher F. Coleman with the Business Intelligence Group. I'm a business leader, advisor, and business coach. Connect with me on LinkedIn at ccoleman144. You can also follow me on Instagram as well as X at ccolemanbiz. That's B-I-Z. It's been real. It's been fun. Catch you in the next one. Peace.